Everyone in the courtroom whispered the same sentence about Judge Harris's son: he was born into silence, and he will remain in silence. For 11 years, no treatment worked. No therapy helped. Nothing changed. Until a quiet, humble single-dad veteran walked in one rainy afternoon, carrying something everyone called impossible, and the man who hid his pain. Judge Nathan Harris was known for one thing: his fairness. But outside the courtroom, he lived with a pain he could never rule against. His son, Evan, born deaf, grew up watching the world move without sound. He learned to smile politely when other kids laughed at things he couldn't hear. He learned to sit quietly when teachers spoke too fast for him to read their lips. And he learned to pretend it didn't sting when other children avoided him because they didn't know how to communicate with him. Nathan tried everything: doctors, specialists, experimental therapies. Every new hope ended the same way, with the gentle shake of a head. One evening, after another failed appointment, Nathan and Evan stepped outside into a heavy rainstorm. Evan tugged Nathan's sleeve and signed, "It's okay, Dad." But Nathan's eyes filled, because it wasn't okay. Not for a father who would trade anything just to hear his son say one word. That same night, across town, a single-dad veteran named Daniel Brooks closed his small repair shop. He lived a quiet life with his daughter Lily, his entire world. Daniel wasn't a man who talked about his past. Afghanistan had taken his hearing for nearly a year after an explosion. He had recovered, but pieces of that time stayed with him. The silence. The confusion. The isolation. He knew what it felt like to be trapped in a world without sound. And because of that, after leaving the military, Daniel worked on something unusual. A small, homemade vibration-to-signal hearing aid prototype, inspired by the early military tech that helped returning soldiers communicate when their hearing was temporarily damaged. Most engineers dismissed his idea as too unconventional. No lab funded it. No company wanted it. So Daniel simply kept improving it in his spare time, telling no one. Fate stepped in the next morning. Nathan pulled up to Daniel's shop when his car began sputtering. While Daniel checked the engine, Evan wandered slowly around the shop, stopping by a small metal box glowing faintly on a work table. Daniel noticed the boy touching it gently. "You can pick it up," he said softly to Evan, forgetting, for a moment, that Evan couldn't hear him. Nathan quickly signed, "He's deaf." Born that way. Daniel paused. Something flickered in his eyes, not pity, recognition. Slowly, calmly, he said, "I might have something for him." Nathan was used to false hope. But Daniel didn't speak with the excitement of a salesman. He spoke with the quiet certainty of someone who had lived through loss. He gently approached Evan, signed a small, awkward but sincere greeting, and placed the strange, polished device into Evan's hands. Evan's fingers traced the warm metal. He looked up with wide, questioning eyes. "Can I try something?" Daniel asked the father. And for the first time in months, Nathan whispered, "Yes." What happened next was not magic. Not a miracle. Just a quiet test in a small shop. That changed everything. Daniel carefully fastened the compact device around the back of Evan's neck. Unlike traditional hearing aids, it didn't sit in the ear. It attached through a thin plate that rested on the skin, designed to translate vibrations into recognizable patterns, something Daniel had once used to relearn sound during his recovery. Nathan watched, breath held, terrified of hope. Evan blinked as the device warmed. Then Daniel tapped lightly on the table. Tap. 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 Evan's eyes widened. He turned. He felt it. Daniel tapped again, faster this time. Evan gasped silently. He looked at his father, confused, overwhelmed. He touched his own chest, then the device, then back at Daniel. Then, something unbelievable happened. Daniel spoke, not loudly, but slowly, clearly. "Evan, can you feel this?" The boy froze. His whole body shivered. Because for the first time in his life, the silence wasn't empty. Nathan fell to his knees, overcome. He didn't dare speak. He didn't dare breathe. Daniel smiled quietly, holding back emotion. This isn't full hearing, he said gently. But it's a bridge, a way for him to learn sound through sensation. And maybe one day, even more. The next months became a journey none of them expected. Evan visited Daniel after school every day. Together, they practiced patterns. Low vibrations for deeper sounds, quick pulses for speech, steady rhythms for music. Evan learned to recognize Nathan's voice pattern. Then Daniel's. Then Lily's laughter. The first time he recognized rain against a window, he cried silently in sign to Nathan. It sounds like the world is touching me. Word spread. Doctors came. Reporters wanted interviews. But Daniel refused attention. He wasn't chasing fame, he just wanted Evan to have what he once lost. Then came the day no one thought possible. In Daniel's shop, Evan placed his hand over his device. And whispered, softly, shakily. D. Nathan broke. The strongest judge in the state sobbed openly, holding his son tighter than ever before. The world called it a miracle. But Daniel shook his head. It wasn't impossible, he said quietly. It was just something nobody cared to try. The story of a judge's son who lived in silence. And a single dad veteran who refused to let silence win. Reminds us that heroes aren't always the ones with fame or rank. Sometimes, they are the quiet, unseen people who carry hope in their hands and kindness in their hearts. And sometimes, the impossible is just waiting for someone brave enough to build it.